All right, I think it's time we actually get started with the show. I have been watching the news and listening to a lot of stuff. Let's put a pause on that. By the way, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. My name is Steve Zimmerman, and I'm grateful to have you guys here tonight. This is the first show of 2026. As I'm recording this, this is the 7th of January, which means I missed a show this year. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's the holidays. What do you got to do? You got to spend time with the fam. Anyway, back to what I was going to start with before I realized what I'm trying to do here tonight. There's just so much going on in the world tonight on the news, and so I have been really, really distracted. On the 7th is the day that I'm recording this. That was when the ICE shooting happened in Minneapolis. Not to mention there was a shooting at a funeral in Salt Lake City. My guess is it's gang related, but it was at an LDS church, outside the church, not inside the church. Not to mention, I was just made aware of some disgusting things that are happening in churches in my area, within the walls of the churches, not by congregants or anything, but people sneaking into the buildings and doing disgusting things. So I've been like going down this rabbit hole of news and media and just trying to wrap my head around things while trying to think of the show. So I'll do my best to keep on track, but we might be talking about some things towards the end of this episode that are going to be important for you and your family, especially if you are the guardian or the protector of your family. But let me start off. I probably should do the heavy, gross things first, but I still got to process some of the things that I've been reading and learning about. So if we talk about it in the show, it'll be later on. But again, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast, and I'm sorry for the weird opening of the show. That's just me. Sometimes I really get distracted. I'm going to do my best. I do not want to edit this show. I want it to be as raw and real as possible. I really like it when I create an episode that needs minimal editing. And I've already fumbled my words a lot of times. I think it's good for you guys to see too that I'm imperfect, and I don't try to be perfect. I mean, today my show notes are in a notebook and not on my computer as normal, just like I said, because this is there's a lot of things going through my mind. But let's start with the fun stuff. I guess we'll get there, and then we'll get to the important stuff at the end, if we get to it. So being the new year, there's a lot of things that I want to do with the show, and every year I do, I'm going to do this year in episode type of a show. And every year my goals don't quite get met. But it's good to have goals, right? It's good to have a decision, an idea, a direction for the vector of the show, right? We'll see how it goes this year. I do have a list of things that I want to do this year, and I think they're all attainable, honestly. I used to joke around years ago that if you set your goals low and they're easily achieved, then you feel like you've been a success. There is that tactic of creating goals. It's probably not the most healthy way to make a goal, but it is something, right? Then you're at least achieving the goal that you have, even though it's really low-hanging fruit. But before we talk about that, because my squirrel brain is all over the place, I did share this. If you were on X at all, if you saw my post on X, you might have seen. In fact, if you've noticed, you've seen something different already. But as you know, I got nominated for a Gundy for Podcast of the Year. Now, I didn't even make the top 5, which is fine. I don't feel jaded or upset about it, honestly. Just to be nominated was quite an honor. The competition I had in that group, there were some big name podcasts in there. So just to be able to be recognized in that group, even though, yeah, I've done the show for, the podcast has been alive since 2018. that we took a small hiatus, and then I took over the show completely. So, but since 2018, that's quite a while, right? I mean, we have 334 episodes now, something like that. I can't remember for sure. You think I should know because, I mean, I produced the damn thing. But to have a small following and to be in the same group as some of these bigger podcasts, that was a pretty cool thing to see. And I'm really grateful for those that nominated the show. That does mean more to me than you guys actually understand. It actually helps me see that what I'm doing and my voice is being heard and seen. So that's cool. But since I didn't even make the top 5, I mean, I got invited to go to the Gundies. I'm not going to go. It is the 19th of January. Honestly, I could probably get the time off. I'm not going to go. It's just cheaper for me not to, honestly. Plus, SHOT Show is the next day or the next 4 days, and I'm pissed that I'm not going to go to SHOT Show this year. It's really, I mean, there's a couple of combinations. I think it's not time. I can get time off work. It's just the checkbook kind of got disrupted this year, and it's tough. Right? It's just tight. But you guys don't need to hear that. But because I didn't win a Gundy, I decided I'm going to make my own trophy. Now, if you've looked around, you've seen it. If you've watched the post on X, you've seen it. But for those of you that have not seen it yet, this is my trophy here. Now, I called it the Ungundy, which really I should have called it the Undie, right? And here it is. I mean, you tried. Congratulations. I thought it was just kind of funny. I'd 3D print a little toilet and then a pedestal to put it on. I think it's hilarious. Hopefully the Gundy guys don't look at it and think that I'm mocking them. Maybe I am a little bit. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Anyway, that's the. I hope you guys can. I kind of moved my different mic setup too, so maybe you can't hear me that well. We'll see. Anyway, there's the Undie. I looked today for a 3D print of some underwear. There's a lot of dirty 3D prints out there. So I'm probably not going to print a pair of underwear, which would be absolutely hilarious. But here we go. There's my trophy to myself. Thanks me. And honestly, thank you. You guys were, it really was an honor to be nominated. And congratulations to whoever wins the Gundy for this year for Podcast of the Year. Whew. That is great radio and video. When you see the host yawning, he's boring himself so much. He's putting himself to sleep. No, I've been tired. I've been working out. I started working out again. I took a hiatus, and it's time to get my body back in gear. But so let's do this. Let's talk about the goals for the show and for me this year. I know you guys have some New Year's resolutions, which are kind of bullshit. I hate the idea of a resolution. The older I get, the more I realize that's just a stupid way of saying. Honestly, it's almost like giving yourself an escape hatch if you don't make things happen very well. Just do it, right? Put something on the piece of paper and do it. Make up your mind and do it. Don't call it a resolution. Just do it. And then if you miss a day, like if you're talking about dieting or exercise, if you miss a day or whatever, don't beat yourself up. Just do it. Right? Just don't worry about it. Anyway, the number one thing that I wanted to do this year for the show, and for me, it's kind of self-serving, is, and this I think was the same thing for number one thing last year as well, but I want to take more classes, and I think it's important. Yes, I teach firearms classes. I haven't taught a class for a little bit, but there is a big one coming up in a few months that I have scheduled, which I'm excited for because it's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of students. It's a private class, but it should be pretty rad. But I want to take more classes. So even if you're an educator, right, it's important that you keep yourself toned down. Oh, sorry, I'm going to mess with my mic again. Like, this is weird. It's just a new setup. But it's important for us as educators to not get stalled out, right? We need to be a student once in a while. We need to learn. I know when I've taken classes, even if it's content that I know and understand already, it's good to hear how the instructor or the teacher is presenting that information. It helps me become a better teacher, a better instructor. Because I mean, even outside, like at church stuff, I do some teaching there too once in a while. I teach. I wouldn't say I teach. I get invited every so often to go up to the local college, and I teach some woodworking skills every once in a while, which is fabulous. So even though I don't just teach on the firearm side, I have other places that I share information, right? It's important to understand that the teaching side, the educating side can carry across so many different platforms and genres, if you will, and it's a good way to help other people grow. And by being a student, you get to understand what works, what doesn't work, what's boring, what's fun. And so I really, really want to take some classes. Now, you might be thinking, Steve, what classes could you possibly want to take? So I want to take, and yeah, I know you're going to say, wow, this is stupid. I want to take another handgun class. It's been a hot minute since I've taken a handgun class. Specifically, I want to do a red dot class. So Adam with Spartan Mode, you've seen him on the show or heard him on the show before if you're a longtime listener. It was before we did video. Adam has been on the show a couple times. And he has a red dot class that he's designed and developed, and he has taught a lot of people on red dot. And so I wouldn't mind taking one of his classes, but because we're such good friends, I almost want to take a class from somebody else as well as far as a red dot platform. Because, I mean, John Correa said, what, if you don't have an optic, a red dot on your handgun, you're just, a shooting Amish? No. You're gun Amish. I think that's what he said, is you're gun Amish. And I have been gun Amish for quite a while. I have powered optics on my rifles, but I have shot red dot on a handgun before, but not proficiently, not comfortably. And I do want to start shooting carry optic in USPSA. I've built my 34. Man, if I was smart, I would have opened my safe before I started recording, so I could show you the 34 I've been working on. And I put an optic on there. Nothing real fancy, honestly. I think the one that's on there is a ride-on. I believe I put the ride-on on that one. But I also put a comped barrel on it, so that would throw me into a whole different division, which maybe that's a bad idea. I should probably just leave it stock and shoot it that way. But, so, digressing again, squirrel moment. But I want to take a pistol class because I want to develop my skills even more and become a more proficient shooter. I do okay, right? I probably, as far as the American public is concerned, I mean, I'm probably a small percentage of a group of people in the United States that actually spends time, shoots regularly, and shoots competition, right? That helps a ton. Yeah, there might be 100,000 shooters in USPSA, which I don't think there really is, but that's a small percentage of the United States. And so I think it's important that we get out there, we shoot, we have a good time. So, there's that. I also need to I really want to take a tactical, or what do you want to call it? Just a solid shotgun class. I think that would be so fun. I have a couple of shotguns that I'd like to try out. I'll probably end up taking, if I ever find one. I do know where I want to take one, and I better do it before dude retires. I mean, Clint Smith, I heard his shotgun class is absolutely phenomenal. Plus, he seems like a really cool guy. But I'd probably just take an 870 pump gun, right? Like just nothing special. I think it would be a ton of fun to learn that platform because it is so versatile, especially now when we're seeing like drone warfare and stuff like that. The shotgun is such a relevant tool to have in the toolbox because you can do so much with it. You can hunt to put food on the table. You can use it as defensive against two-legged predators, four-legged predators, or birds in the air. So like it's a pretty versatile platform. So I need to learn how to use it better. I'm a terrible clay pigeon shooter, and that's really not what they're going to talk about. Like Clint Smith doesn't teach you how to be a better clay pigeon shooter. He teaches you how to be more proficient with the platform in a in a more dangerous scenario, not just like out there shooting skeet or I whatever. You get what I'm saying, right? I that's something I really want to hunt down and take out. And if I could take a Clint Smith class, I totally will. Let's see. The second thing on my goals for 2026 is last year I had a goal of hitting 1,000 subs. I didn't even come close. And again, I really don't understand why it's taking so long for the show to get some traction. It's probably because I don't spend enough time posting and reposting and sharing and posting every day, or is what they say for the YouTube algorithm. Wow, hold on just a second. Apparently I need a drink because, good Lord, I can't speak. All right. I want to hit 15 subs this year. YouTube has been very unkind to 2A content creators. I've had some issues with YouTube. They flagged some content. They haven't deleted it, but Mr. Guns and Gear and a few other YouTubers out there have had content, and lots of content, just erased off channels that they've had for many, many years before, or not just before the guidelines changed, but videos that have been on the platform before YouTube made these ridiculous gun guidelines, I guess. And so they're having their content just mass deleted, which is ridiculous. So I understand that it might be tough for me on YouTube, but I'm surprised even on Rumble or Spotify how hard it is to really get subscribers. That being said, I just stated my goal of having 1,500 subs this year, or hitting 1,500 subs. You can help me hit that goal, because it really is you guys. And if you feel like the content that I'm sharing is worth it, that's the only way I'm going to hit that goal. I know maybe in some cases I need to step up what I'm sharing with you guys, and I do have some plans with some episodes. I have an idea for a high-low episode on a Glock build, because I'm a Glock fanboy. Maybe you can tell by the sign right there. I'll shoot anything. I'm not too proud, but I shoot my Glocks better than anything else. I'm just used to the platform. It doesn't mean that I'm not too good to shoot something else. I used to have a Smith. I ended up getting rid of that, but I got a few Springfields. I've got a few other guns. I got a Sky, all right, which I'd never shoot, honestly. I just got it for such a good price. I couldn't say no for a $50 gun that was almost brand new. But I just shoot my Glocks the best. I'm most comfortable with the platform. I've got the grip angle dialed down. I get a natural point of aim because I shoot them so much. So I'm going to do, or my plan to do, a high-low build. I have two 17s. I'm going to do one that's like tricked out with expensive parts and one that's not so expensive. And then we're going to shoot them side by side and see if it's worth it. I think you guys might get a kick out of that, because I know many of you out there are already to the point where you're thinking, do I spend the money on getting... For a minute, I thought my mic was off this whole time. Oh, I would have about been pissed. Because I know many of you out there thinking, man, is it worth buying like these cheap parts that you're seeing on eBay? They used to be stuff on Temu, but I don't really see much on there anymore. But cheaper stuff that you're seeing online, is it worth buying those parts, or are they just going to break in the middle of a competition? So I'm going to do something like that. I think that'd be kind of fun to do, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll do a high-low build on some other firearms out there, other platforms, and give you guys a taste of how to lose money properly, and what not to buy. I think that could be really entertaining. Again, all that will help me hit that 1,500 sub. Now, I don't want to just stop at 1,500, but I'd love to hit 1,500, and I think that is absolutely doable. But it all depends on viewers like you, and I think I'm more entertaining than PBS. So you too can help prevent goal failure. I don't know. My brain is weird. And alongside with that, the next goal, and I've tried to do this since 2018, honestly. The next goal for the show is actually having the show make some revenue. And I've been a little bit apprehensive on some ways, and another way it's hard to generate revenue for the show, where I'm still a micro influencer. If it might even be smaller than a micro influencer. Most people that want to do products, or I can't remember, think of the word right now. They don't want to look at a show as small as me. They look at how many followers I have on social media, and they look at how many followers and subscribers I have on, whether it be, wherever you're watching and listening. And I'm small. Like, I'm really, really small. And so they don't want to talk to people like me, because they don't feel like it's worth their time or their money or their product. And the other half of it is I don't want to shill products that I don't use. Like, I have no desire to do a blood test, have a sponsorship for a blood test, or Blue Chew, or all this shit that doesn't matter. Maybe I'll use a Blue Chew. I don't know. I have to talk about that one, I guess. Love you, dear. But you get what I'm saying. I don't want to try and be I don't want to sell out the show. I don't want to be a shill for shit that I don't use and I can't put my faith in to share with you guys. Now it would be different if, Glock said, "Hey, we'll help the show out," but they're absolutely not going to do that. Most people hate Glock anyway, so why would they even bother? But I really at least want the show to make its payments on the internet, right? That would be super rad. Now there is another way that you can do that. I have a Patreon that you can help out with, and it's not expensive. I think at the highest tier is $5 a month. And with that, when I get a couple more Patreon supporters on there, we're going to start talking about more patches, and you guys, the Patreon supporters, are going to be involved in picking the next patch. I love patch. I mean, look, if you notice, I moved some of the studio around. I got rid of some stuff. And so the patch wall is pushed back, and honestly can't see it as well maybe, but I love patches. I am a patch whore, and if I could cover this whole studio with patches if I could, and you can help me with that, and be a part of the team as far as designing and picking the patches. So if you like patches, and if you want to be a part of designing patches with me, join the Patreon group, because patches are patches, dude. If you like patches, that's one way I do have a way to generate revenue, but really, in the long term, it's dependent on subscribers and followers. So don't be scared. If you want to follow me on any of the socials, do it. Like, I really appreciate it, man. It sounds like I'm begging. I guess I kind of am. So the next thing, the fourth goal I have for this year, is something I already touched on. I just mentioned that I moved some stuff around in the studio. If, like I said, maybe you can't tell, but everything's kind of pushed back and rearranged. That is now the actual back wall. I had a bunch of bookshelves that were behind me that took up almost 2 feet of floor space behind me, and I moved all that stuff around, and you can kind of see there's my recliner chair right there that I like to sit in and take naps on Sunday. But I have a design that I want to do for the studio. So there's some cabinets that are in my brain that are going to go along that back wall with some gun displays and some cool stuff. And then the whole studio is going to be updated, new lighting, new wall treatments all the way around. So that'll probably happen little by little this year, just as things move on. Honestly, I have most of the stuff already, other than my ceiling. I want to get a good acoustic ceiling, but so it's really more a matter of time right now, just getting things done. Because if you have a gaming setup, or if you have a studio at home, you realize how much electronic BS there is to move around. I mean, I got my whole PC I got to pick up and move. I've got 2 monitors in front of me that I'd have to take off the walls. And then I have to find a place to either store them or set up to keep doing shows in the meantime. So I haven't really messed too much with that last year, but I'm hoping to make some changes this year for that. And then the last thing, and I mentioned this a bit ago, is I've started working out. This is really a selfish goal for me. I've started working out. If any of you guys used to be in shape, and then have gotten a little bit more seasoned in your age and realized, man, I just don't feel as good. I don't have as much mobility. I still am pretty strong. I'm not going to lie. I know I'm not a weakling, but I've definitely garnished a little extra weight around the middle. And it's harder to get rid of the older you get. And I don't want to be... I look at my dad was pretty active up until he had a stroke. And then obviously he declined. But my mom, on the other hand, she hasn't really been a physically active person. And I see that that lethargic behavior kind of really, it pays some unhealthy dividends in the future. And I don't want to be like that. I want to stay active. I want to stay healthy. So it's time for me to get back on track. After I got really, really sick, was that in 25, 20, yeah, that was at 25, 26, right? All the way through 26. I realized that I'm not young anymore, and I have to gain control of my spiritual self and my physical self. So really the fitness portion of my goal is both spiritual and physical. I really need to get back to reading and focusing on what is more important, not just the show. I mean, you guys are more important to me than you know. You are a place for me to vent and share my thoughts and my ideas. And hopefully I am a voice for you guys that can speak out in a bigger platform too. So hopefully it's a reciprocal relationship with you and you and me, you and I, us, you and I, you and me. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm stalling on that one so big. But anyway, that's kind of my goals for this year, 2026. I cannot believe that it is 2026 already. Oh, what a crazy year last year was. And what a crazy week 2026 has given us. I mean, you've had, that's it for my goals, by the way. Now let's get to some of the serious stuff that's been on my mind that I mentioned earlier. We got a little bit of time here. 2026 has offered some absolutely crazy stuff. You saw Maduro get, so he was kidnapped. No, he wasn't. He was extradited, right? That was crazy, right? And who knows where that's going to lead, and who knows if there's other narco groups out there, narco leaders that are going to be sucked up by the great military might of the United States. Pretty crazy. Like, I don't know if surely you guys have heard by now the operation that took place to get Maduro. I mean, it was minutes. I think the entire operation was an hour and a half, something like that, from liftoff of the aircraft and helicopters to bringing them back down, touched back down on the ships. Like, that is nuts, and no American casualties. Maduro lost a few of his Cuban bodyguards, which is why didn't he have Venezuelan bodyguards, by the way? But the crazy stories coming out of there. I don't know all the details. You guys, I know there's some of you out there that know all the deets way better than I do. Super interesting though. And if you just look at the operation as itself, what was there? 165 aircraft, whether it be fixed wing or rotary, being able to attack the internet and the power supply and all this, like, strategically timed, like taking out these supposedly state-of-the-art air defense system that they got from Russia, like, just crazy stuff, just to grab old Maduro and his wife. And there was a $50 million reward that now nobody gets to claim. So I guess that'll just trickle down to the next narco dude. But I mean, what an absolute crazy thing. And then today we see some other crazy stuff, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this next little bit, just because it's sad, it's disappointing, it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. If you plan to demand a tune from the piper, you got to pay. Today, the 7th, again, this is January 7th as of this recording, there was that gal in Minneapolis that was shot by ICE. Now, there's all sorts of conflicting arguments and complaints and video and footage. And from what it looks like to me, like if I use the reasonable person standard, like if I look through the eyes of the ICE agent, I can see how a reasonable person would feel like their life was threatened by a vehicle, whether that was her intent or not. I can see, to me, it seems like that was a good shoot, as unfortunate as it may be. And I might be wrong, right? I could be completely wrong here, but just from the initial gut feeling and the video that I watched from multiple angles, to me, it looked like it was just a really bad decision. She may not have chosen, or her intent may not have been to run over the ICE agent, but I can see how a reasonable person would feel like he's going to get run over. And a vehicle is most definitely considered a deadly weapon. And he's a federal law enforcement officer. So I think, I'll just put it this way. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I think there's going to be somebody that's going to be majorly disappointed. It could be me, or it could be somebody that feels like she was gunned down in cold blood. Needless to say, if you complied, that would have been a totally different story. If you weren't protesting federal agents doing their job that local law enforcement wasn't doing, might have been a different story. I don't know. We'll see how this all plays out. Comparing her to George Floyd is unfair. Comparing her to Kyle Rittenhouse is obviously asinine. It is not the same thing. So we'll see. It's getting pretty heated in Minneapolis tonight, and it's going to be rough. It's a mess for the Trump administration right now, because absolutely the media and the left are going to do everything they humanly possibly can to twist and manipulate and tug at the heartstrings of the American people. And this is not something, obviously, they wanted to deal with right now. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I don't know. All I know is people are making crazy claims and doing crazy things. It's getting rough out there. Which brings me to the next thing that was weighing really heavy on my mind tonight. My daughter's boyfriend shared something with me. Like it or not, hate me or not, maybe you'll choose to never listen to me again. I don't care. I'm a Mormon. Okay, so straight up, I'm LDS. And if that changes your mind about who I am, so be it. But I am who I am, and I'm not going to tell you something that I'm not. There are many things which I believe that I will never say, but I should never say the things of which I don't believe. I love that Thomas Jefferson quote, and I stand by that quote, and I live by that quote. So my daughter's boyfriend recently shared, tonight before I started recording, shared with me some things that are going on, and maybe this happens in other churches. Now, I don't know if they're deliberately targeting Mormon churches for doing this. I have a feeling it's, and I know some asshole's going to be, well, that's the Mormon pedophile, blah, blah, blah. These are not members of the church. They're coming in during activities that happen during the week, and they're doing disgusting, gross things inside of church buildings, sexual acts, whether it be with themselves or other people, while there are youth inside the building. It's disgusting, and it's wrong, right? So throw your biases of whatever religion you might be away from for just a minute, and listen to what I just said. There are people that are disgusting enough to enter a church building while they know there are youth activities taking place and doing disgusting things inside that building. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this is happening in other denominations, churches, or if it's just something that's being targeted in LDS facilities. It is disgusting. It is gross. And it is nothing to do with church doctrine. So if you think it is, you're a bigoted person. What it is a problem, right? So this brings me to what I've been thinking really, really heavily on tonight is, as a dad, as a protector of your family, it might be a mom, right? If you are the sole protector of your family, what are you doing to fortify not just your home, but your family as a unit, your children individually, and what are you doing to protect them when they're not in the home? Because there's evil out there no matter where you go. And it seems like it's becoming more and more prevalent. There's a fellow I've recently followed, and I absolutely support his channel and his efforts. It's called Christian Warrior Training, I think is what it is. Boy, I tout how cool he is, but the dude is awesome. He was actually nominated for a Gundy. I'm sure it's Christian Warrior Training. Let me look it up while we talk. So, but what are you guys doing? Like, what are you doing to keep your kids safe, to protect your family? And if they're not your kids, what if they're your neighbor kids or your grandkids or something like that? What are you doing to keep your kids safe? Let's see. Yeah, Christian Warrior Training. I was right. Great YouTube channel. Great Twitter follow. The dude is awesome. And he talks about his mission, what he feels like God has called him to do was to keep houses of worship safe, right? And one thing I really like about him is he's not the same faith as me, but he believes in God, and he believes that God has a mission for him to do, which I 100% believe that he is correct. And so he talks about all sorts of stuff, and I imagine he's going to be talking about this kind of stuff very shortly. We live in a world where people are willing to do anything, and they don't care who it hurts or who is influenced by it. You need to start fortifying your thoughts, your actions. You really need to start thinking about how you are going to keep your family safe outside of your home, whether it be in your car, whether it be at the grocery store, whether it be at the house of worship where you worship, or at a movie theater, or wherever you are going to be. You need to understand your state laws. That's probably the number one most important thing, is you need to understand what your state will allow you to do to protect a loved one, yourself, or others from any kind of harm. And you need to make sure you understand that completely so you don't overstep those bounds. I don't support or promote any specific kind of self-defense insurance because I don't think it's an insurance. But if it was like some kind of a prepaid legal, you should probably be exploring what options are out there. I think there are some good options, but I'm not going to endorse one over another and say this one is better because I don't know your situation. I am not an attorney. I don't espouse to have all the answers. What might be good for me may not be good for you and your family. So I want you, and please, this is honestly, you should probably start looking at some good prepaid legal defense or whatever you want to call it. Really dig into what's out there because, man, it seems like we're living in a country now that people are becoming more and more emboldened. There's a lot more fear. There's a lot more hate and discontent, and really, there's a rising dislike to Christianity in this country and in the world as a whole, right? But we're seeing it here more and more. And whether you believe in God or not, it's irrelevant because violent people, they don't care what religion you are. They just want to enact, they want to do something that creates fear, that hurts somebody, that just excites them in a way that it hurts other people. you probably need to really start determining what is the best course of action for you and your family. And you really, really, really need to explore every detail, and you might have to go to some really dark places in your mind to figure out what you would do in certain situations. I know this, for me and my family, let me put it this way. Hypothetically, it would be very difficult for someone who really cares for their family and has a certain level of training. I can see how it would be very difficult for him to restrain himself if he happened to come across somebody that was hurting one of his family members. I think that hypothetical person, I could see where some decisions would be made that could be difficult. Hypothetically, plan accordingly, and make good decisions. And if there's like this gal in Minnesota, if you know there's going to be problems, just don't go to those places. Don't put yourself in a possible situation that could end up pretty badly. The other thing that was really hanging heavy on my mind tonight, and it's another LDS church thing. Sorry, you're just going to have to deal with it because this is the reality of the world that we're living in. In fact, I've got the repeating feed right now on my monitor here to my right. There was a shooting in Salt Lake City. Now, my gut says that, and I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong on this, but my gut says this is probably a Tongan gang shooting or some kind of a gang shooting that happened to take place at a funeral that was in a Mormon meeting house. Not inside the meeting house, but in the parking lot. I probably should be a little bit more expressive about that. There is a massive, if you look for this, pull this up next time you are on whatever social media, you're going to see the feed eventually. You're going to see some of these news recordings. Massive police presence, massive, huge. And I used to live in Utah. I kind of know, of course you lived in Utah, you're a Mormon. I know the general area of where this took place. It's not the most pleasant area of Utah, but not normally really terrible. Like I said, this world is just getting crazier and crazier. It's just getting nuts. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about was, and really focus on the being a protector. Sometimes being the protector, let's jump to that back to that really, really quick and short. Sometimes being the protector doesn't mean you have to be violent, but it requires planning and preparedness. So, yeah. Listen, I don't normally share my faith on this show, right? That's not what this show is about. This isn't a religious podcast, but sometimes it comes out. It is what it is, and I am not ashamed of being LDS, by the way. And I'm unshaken in my faith in my church. Let me put it this way. Again, if you choose to dislike me because of my religious beliefs, we don't need to be friends, and we'll just bid each other adieu. We're all American citizens. Well, not all American citizens. Most people that are watching this are going to be American citizens, but I believe we're all God's children. And we have been sent to this earth to work together and not against each other, and build something better than what we are. I love you guys no matter what, right? I care for each one of you. I care for your safety. I care for the safety of your families. And hopefully what I share when I share these videos, especially when I get a little bit more personal than normal, which is kind of weird for me, I hope you understand that it's coming from a good place, and that I really, really do care about you guys and your family. I really care about your freedom and your ability to defend and protect yourself and those around you. we just have to think about outside the box a little bit on what that looks like sometimes. You guys are awesome. Hopefully when we talked about these goals, hopefully you can help me hit these goals this year. Help me hit 1,500 subscribers on YouTube and Rumble. The show is available all over the place. Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all over the place. Help me hit that goal. Let's make 2026 a year to remember. Let's work together 2026 as well. I have some ideas for some other stuff that may be coming associated to the podcast, but not directly the same kind of stuff. That'll be a little bit more exclusive. I'm kind of just hammering the idea out in my brain a little bit. It'll probably be a Twitter exclusive, maybe Rumble, but just I think the idea that I have probably won't work on Rumble too well, and I'm a little concerned about Rumble, honestly. I don't know if it's as free speech as what people want it to be. I haven't seen any problems yet, but I can see how there could be problems down the road. Nonetheless, let's end this. Like, you don't want to hear me ramble anymore. You guys are awesome. I love you guys more than you'll ever know, more than you'll ever understand. Thank you for hanging out, especially if you hung out through this whole episode. Probably not the most exciting and fun episode I've ever done, and I get it, but I appreciate you guys. Remember, you need to stay safe. You need to stay armed. And you need to stay range-minded. Behave yourselves, kids. Stay safe.
Shines like the morning sun.